Hello, my name is Robert Walker. I'm with the Engineer Research and Development Center, and today I want to show you a product that we've been working on for the past couple of years, and that's our mobile information collection application. This product was started because we have the problem that we have within the Corps, and that's data collection in the field, in particular the use of paper forms. We needed a system that could be adaptable to any mission, whether we're counting fish or counting missiles. We needed to be able to have a system that we could take into the field with a modern smartphone or tablet and collect data. In addition to paper forms, you can take photos, videos, and we'll get into all that as the webinar progresses. You see the link to our YouTube channel where you're probably watching this video. There are other videos in our channel that talk about our mobile smartphone activities going on here in the Corps of Engineers and with ERDIC. Our current claim to fame is the 2012 Innovation of the Year. So what you're about to see here was the Innovation of the Year for the entire Corps of Engineers. So we're very proud of that. So let's get started. I like to start with the end, and this is what the end product looks like. Currently our version 2.0 runs on Android. Our version 3.0 will run on Android or iOS or Windows. We're writing it in a product called Qt or Qt, and we're going to see how that works out. We're about midway through development of that. Currently, we have about 300 devices that we do a check-in, check-out system with the Corps of Engineers. The Corps is a BlackBerry organization, and currently we do not have the ability to distribute directly iOS or Android devices to our personnel. So here at ERDIC, we have a check-in, check-out system where people within our districts can request 10 devices, 50 devices, however many they need for their mission, and they can go out and do their data collection mission and then return those devices back to us after they've completed their mission. But this is what it looks like. We have the MICA app, which is a true native app, not a web app, running on the device. There's four main icons on the front screen. The one that you mainly use, if you ever use the others, I'd be surprised, but when you come across a point that you need to collect, you press the flag or the point button. That button will launch you into the data collection process, which we'll demonstrate here in just a few minutes. The route icon, that's if you want to collect points and also collect the route or route that you are walking or driving so that you can see the path that you have completed after the end of your data collection duty that day. So this is what the product looks like. Now let's talk about how we get there. So the way that we do data collection with the MICA system is we deploy these devices into the field. It could be a hurricane response or it could be a highway inspection. All of the people within the mission or within the team have a device and they go do their data collection. In addition to the data that's being collected being automatically transmitted back to the server or back to our common operating picture, whenever a personnel synchronizes their data, whatever they've collected also synchronizes on the other devices within the mission area. So other inspectors can see what their coworkers have already completed so that there's no overlap or there's minimal overlap. We do not send the photos and videos from device to device, but simply the name of the point as well as the latitude and longitude, etc. So it's a really nice process that keeps us from doing duplication and overlap in our collection process. So the devices in the field actually synchronize their data back to the server. They do not require internet access, but if you do have internet access while you're collecting data, then it's synchronized real time. And what you see in the background here is the common operating picture. That's where the data, let's say for Hurricane Sandy, we had 125 devices in the field simultaneously collecting data. Every time a point was collected, that point was returned back to the server, which then displays on our common operating picture that you see here. This is the final shot from Hurricane Sandy. So we collected over 9,000 data points using this system. So this was, what you see here are clusters, Anything in red means that over 100 points were collected in that area. Yellow or amber means between 10 and 100, and then less than 10 points you get blue. So our decision makers, the colonel who's sitting in the field office where all this data is coming back to, can see an overview of what the field data collection looks like. Excuse me. So here's the problem we were solving, and that's paper forms. Currently within the Corps, and I'm sure within other agencies that you're watching from within, have the same problem. Here we have a field observer monitoring a flood. He's writing down what he's observing. He's taking photos with a regular camera that is not tied to the notes that he's collecting. So over the course of a day, you start to lose track of what photos went with what paper form. So this gentleman collects data all day. Then he still has 2-3 hours at the end of the day to go type that data into some system, be it SharePoint or others. And then he has to remember which pictures went with the paper forms. It's really just, it's by the time that data gets back, maybe that water's already dropped 2-3 feet, or it's risen 2 or 3 feet. It's really irrelevant to the minute-by-minute decision-making that needs to be made during a crisis. So we needed a way to get that data back to the command center, to the colonels and the generals and the decision-makers faster than what we were doing. Another example I like to use is Hurricane Ike and Gustav. During those hurricanes, we had over 18,000 homeowners request assistance, which required a paper form. Each one of those forms had 5 carbon copies, so we were tracking 90,000 pieces of paper. We could have collected that data via tablet or electronic format. We would have saved tens of millions of dollars in simple labor costs and overhead costs that it took to track those paper forms. So this is the problem that MICA's solved already. It's not attempting to solve. This is a proven system where we've collected over 40,000 data points. So all of those things that our current first responders are using, paper forms, a vehicle-based GPS system, and just a dumb camera, dumb phone, all of that now is wrapped into this tablet, and we can get rid of all that equipment and simply use this $99 phone and $200 or $300 tablet. But what's critical to MICA and the approach that we've taken is that we did not want to write an application that is only for one specific type of data collection. If we had written this for only, say, emergency management, then we feel like we would have failed, because what do we do when this is really popular in emergency management and then the transportation or bridge inspection team saw it? Hey, we want that. So we would have had to copy paste the code, do something really dumb from a software engineering standpoint. So we wanted to write this system where it could be adapted to any data collection mission, and I'll show you how we've done that. So you remember that portal, the Hurricane Sandy portal, that had the colors and the different data results, the red, the yellow, and the blue. Well, this is what the map looks like when you first start your mission for the first time. It's blank. So you call us, hey Robert, we need a system for data collection for our mission. Can you help us? We give you an account, and you log in and you get this blank slate. There's no folders. So you see a blank map, and we give you the ability to start building the data elements that you want to collect. So I'll zoom in over on the left side, and you see it says MICA folders. This is the categories of data that you want to collect. So this is what makes it truly unique to each type of mission. We can create a folder for bridge inspections, or we can simply create a folder for recreation parks, or emergency management, or roofing, or for example, the VA is interested in using it to locate grave sites for veterans. So you create your folder. You click on Create Folder, and it pops up a little box, and it says, what do you want the folder name to be? So for this example, I'm going to assume that we're doing a transportation-related inspection. We want to inspect bridges, roads, intersections. So I've gone through the process, and I've created a series of folders that you see here. I entered bridges, then I went back and clicked Create Folder again. and I did intersections, and I created another folder called roads, then highway signs, then lighting and power. I can also create subfolders, so I right-clicked on roads and said create folder, and I put asphalt and concrete. So literally within 10 minutes, I've created my mission. Now what this did technically is it created this set of folders on the server, so that when the tablets connect to the server, it says, oh, I see that you've created a mission with all of these different folders, and it automatically generates the user interface. It puts the buttons in place to match the exact folders that you've created. So it is a dynamic application on the tablet and smartphone that reads the structure and the hierarchy of the folder structure that you want to use for your mission, and builds the buttons on the fly to match those sets of folders that you've created. Before you go to the tablet, though, you can create a form for each one of those categories. So you right-click on the folder for bridges, or in this case, the example for lighting and power. Sorry. And you say new form, and then it opens up an interface that you can go in and actually drag and drop. Very simple to replicate the PDF or form that you're currently using for paper form, and you simply build your form using the simple tools that we have here. On the left side, you see text box, text area, drop down list, check boxes. Once you build that form using our self-service form system, that form is then loaded into the MICA framework, so that when you go to the tablet and you push the button for lighting and power, one of the options is to collect a form. You will then see this form that you've collected and be able to fill out the forms for the various different elements, points that you stopped to collect, and we'll show you that in just a second. So that's all you do on the back end. That's the first steps. You've created your folders, and you've built a form for one or all of the various folders. I could have a different form for bridge, a form for intersections, a form for roads, etc. And those forms get loaded into the tablet. So here you see the first glance at what the tablet screens look like. And this is the only time that internet is required. You log into the system, and you'll see at the bottom of the list in the upper left here, it says highway inspections. That's because it recognized that we built a mission on the server called highway inspections, and you see in the bottom left, that's what we built on the previous screen. You saw that. So then when we press the highway inspection button on the left side of the upper left, the screens are automatically built on the tablet. So this is what you would see as you're holding your tablet, and once you've loaded that mission onto the tablet. So now you're ready to begin your inspections. You start driving through your area of responsibility, and if you come across a bridge, you stop and you press the bridge button, and you start collecting data. So for this example, I'm assuming you've pulled up into an intersection, or you're inspecting some lighting and power part of your inspection. So you press the lighting and power button. You give it a name, which I didn't show that screen, but in the top bar here it says Fort Trodden Road. So you would give that point a name and say, okay, I'm at Fort Trodden Road, but it also captured the latitude and longitude of where you're standing or sitting in the car. And then it says, okay, I'm at Fort Trodden Road, I've collected the latitude and longitude, but what else do you want to collect about this location? So here we have 7 options. You can take as many videos as you like about Fort Trodden Road Lighting and Power Station. Take a video clip. You can take a text note. You can record your voice to take voice notes. You can draw a sketch. On the tablet, it's really neat how you can use your finger or stylus to actually draw a sketch to show a layout or some other point of interest. But there's your form. So if you created a form, custom form for your lighting and power inspection, this button appears. If there's no form loaded, then that button would not show up. Likewise, if you have a form that requires a signature, then the signature block will appear. This is just a simple, almost like the sketch, where we use this for Hurricane Sandy for a form we created for giving us permission to go on their property for debris removal. We needed to get the homeowner's signature, so they would use their finger or stylus to sign electronically the form that we previously created. So again, once you've loaded the mission, no internet access is required at all. So if for some reason you do not have 4G or LTE or wireless, you simply collect data. It collects it on the device. And with our 16 gig platforms, you can collect data all day long with no problem. And then once you do come back into connectivity with LTE or 4G or McDonald's Wi-Fi, then it will synchronize the data back to the server. But the neat thing is that most of the time you will have your LTE or 4G internet access on your phone or tablet through a MiFi or otherwise, so that every time you collect a data point, even if you're 3,000 miles away, your boss or decision makers or the people that need to see that data can see it literally seconds after you've collected it, because it's been sent back and put back onto the common operating picture. So I want to go through a few use cases of how we've used this system to date. The state of Michigan is one of our non-federal partners. They had a mission to where they wanted to go capture all the locations and photos for the abandoned homes in downtown Detroit. You may have seen some of that in the media. So they saw a demonstration that we gave at a federal users conference and asked if they could use our system. Within 4 days of the phone call, they were on the ground collecting data. They purchased their own devices. They had 65 phones that they purchased. We loaded the MICA app onto their device, and their fire department was the labor force that went out and collected this data. And the reason was because over 80% of their fire calls were to these abandoned homes. So they had a vested interest in locating where these homes were located. And at first they were simply going to collect the locations and a photo. But after our initial training session, we decided to build a form, a 10-element form, that proved to be invaluable to the data that they were collecting. So in addition to just a photo, now when the fire department was on a fire run to one of these homes, they could see, we collected form data. How many stories does it have? Estimated square footage. Does it have a basement? Is it within 50 feet of an occupied dwelling? So this is all critical information that the firefighters could use for a call if they were called to one of these homes during a fire. This mission was a huge success for us on the MICA and its usability side. 14,000 data points collected for the mission, and you can see the final screen and the clusters of data that were collected using this system. More recently, we worked with our own Corps of Engineers power team. They are heavily paper form, so they go out and pre-inspect a lot of these critical locations in case there's a hurricane, say in the Northeast, as with Hurricane Sandy. They take their paper forms and go out and go to the wastewater treatment, the hospitals, the fire departments, and they locate these critical infrastructure in case there's a loss of power in advance of the storm. So we took the MICA system side by side to them collecting their data with paper forms. We gave MICA devices to the team, and you see a snapshot of one of the points that was collected. This young man collected photos in a form, and you see what his pit boss, or what the boss, the team leader back at the command center, they're hours away from where we are collecting this data. They are able to see all of the photos and the form data. You see the tabs on the bottom left, the balloon that's popped up. He sees all the photos that were taken, and then there's a form tab on the bottom, on the center bottom row. So the pit boss is able to click that tab, and this is what they see. They actually see the form data that this lieutenant has been collecting, whereas before the supervisors were not able to see this data in real time. They would only see it once it was uploaded to the system, which could be hours later. So there's a whole QA/QC element. They could do quality control. The team leaders can see what their field people are seeing before they leave the site, and they can tell them, hey, this number looks wrong, go back and check this, etc. This is a new capability that they have never had as part of this system. So I want to talk about our largest deployment to date, and that's Hurricane Sandy. We were asked ahead of the storm to come in to bring the MICA devices to New York. We typically do not go with the devices. It's such a simple system. We FedEx the kit to wherever They request it, and we give them tech support by phone if necessary. But we were deployed with this system so that we could take a very large number of devices and work with the various teams. In all, we worked with 9 teams. Each team has a completely different mission, completely different data requirements, but we were able to take the same system and make it adapt to all 9 missions. We worked with unwatering, infrastructure assessment, damage, personal property debris. You see the categories here. We had over 9,000 data points collected, including over 12,000 photos and videos. But our big success story has to be in the forms category, where we worked with the debris teams who didn't even know about the MICA system before we got to the New York office. And they said, hey, what's this system? Can you help us with the paper forms? And they ended up being our largest data collector of paper forms, with over 4,000 forms collected. This is just a shot for the debris team. This is the way it works. You see the lady here. She's been tasked to assess this home for debris removal. She takes her photos using the photo you saw the previous screen. She's taking photos, videos. They fill out the paper form, and the moment that she's finished collecting, that point appears on the monitor, where they can click and see exactly what she sees in the field. And I want to point out here also that part of the process is the team supervisors in charge of debris. They send out their people into the field to do their inspections. Well, at some point during the day, let's just say 4 o'clock, the team supervisor has to get photos and forms and all the data so that they can do a roll-up to the commander. And with the paper form system, this is a nightmare, because the team supervisor has to call and get on the phone and literally, beg, borrow, and harass the field people to get their data turned in. They're exhausted after an 8-10 hour day, and then they have to go back and then continue to type in their data from their paper forms. Well, with this system, the team supervisors can pick pictures and forms all day long, because they are just really coming in real time. And the field people, once they complete their assessment for that particular home and hit submit, they move on to the next assessment, knowing that what they've just submitted has already been turned in. The supervisor already has it, and they can get more relevant, timely data for their daily briefings. Before, the pictures were 24 hours old or maybe 12 hours old. They could literally use pictures for the briefing that were just submitted 5 minutes ago with this system. So that's another full benefit of the real-time data collection. To wrap up, I just want to show you a few close-ups. This is the command center portal. This particular screen is what they would have on the flat screen TV in the field office, the regional field office. And they could click on a point if someone was interested in what's going on in a certain area, and then it would show, in this case, a particular flooding area. Here's one where they click on it, and you could see a sand boil at the foot of some levee structure. And finally, just a few more of our highlighted MICA adaptability. It's adaptability for a variety of missions. As I said earlier, that's our mission for this system. For marine debris, we tested it with took a MICA device into the Norfolk waterways, and when debris was found, we would take MICA, collect the point, take photos of the debris, and move on. A simple data collection system. Urban search and rescue, being able to go through it was a test scenario through a pilot where we were able to walk through an area, and if we saw something that was important to note, we would take a point with MICA and take a photo. And then just go to the bottom, forest fire tree removal. That was an exercise we participated in with 4 forest fires in Texas a couple of years ago. After the fire, there were still trees that were standing but needed to be removed because they were a hazard. They had been burned but did not fall. So we took 12 MICA devices, went out, captured the location, took a photo of the tree, which generated this report. We were able to send to the contractor, who then had a latitude, longitude list of locations to where they needed to go to remove the tree. So you can see it's just the adaptability of the system for a variety of missions. And with that, I realize this is a video, so there's no question opportunity, but I want to put my email address on the screen, and I highly encourage you and welcome any feedback or comments on the system or questions that you have that we could have a partnering opportunity with you. Obviously, cost is the main question in your mind, and yes, there are costs involved with the system, but we can work with that on a case-by-case basis. As you send in your questions, I'll be glad to give webinars to your specific organization if you have a group of people that you would like to show this briefing to. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to talking with you in the future.